Hi, everybody. It's Andra Annette, and I'm here with co-author and good friend Megan Nicole. Megan left the world of education and counseling. She has a master's in counseling, I believe, and a bachelor's in education. And she just really loves what she does now. What she does is she helps people tap into their intuition and really listen to their gut so that they could live their life more fully. So I'm going to let Megan tell you a little more about herself. So please welcome Megan.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. This is so fun. And it's been so fun to get to know like all of our co-authors because we didn't even know each other before this, and now that our book is being released and everything, and through this whole process, we're all getting to know each other. And it's just so fun and crazy how much we have in common. So it's just meant to be that we're in this book together. But I'm an intuition coach, so I help mostly women connect to their own intuition so they can follow their soul's calling confidently. Because when we trust our intuition and our own inner knowing, which is just like our gut feeling, which everyone has, when we trust that more and we follow that more, we just align with our true self more, and therefore we can follow our purpose more. And a lot of people feel like they don't feel purposeful. So that's kind of the purpose of why I do what I do. And I used to be kind of the opposite of that. I grew up not believing in myself like at all, was not confident. I was really shy and quiet in school, all through school, and just was really afraid to make mistakes and all of that, perfectionist to the T. And so it like in college when I was about 20 years old, I had what I felt like was a near-death experience. I got sick, really sick, and went to the ER and everything. And in that same week, a friend of mine who was a teenager at the time died of brain cancer. And so it
Wow.
was like all of these things happened really close together. And then even my aunt died a couple months after that. So it was like this stuff just all happened at once and it just shook me up. And I started going through a spiritual awakening. And at the time, I didn't know what that was. But it basically was like it shakes you up enough, which happens a lot through trauma or like even like a really tough breakup, near death experiences. It's like it just shakes us up to the core where we start to like undo all of the things that don't work for us, all of the belief systems, and start to really get to know ourselves at a really deep level and who we really are and what we really want in life. And that started to happen to me. But it happened in like some weird ways where I just started having like really vivid dreams. Like I would have really lucid dreams and have even like deceased loved ones coming into my dreams, visiting me all the time. And it felt really real. And then I started having what's called clairvoyance, which is clear seeing. So I could see images popping up in my head all the time. And I was kind of like able to like tell people things that I saw about them. And they were like, whoa, how did you know that? And I'm like, I don't know. It just came to me. And that started happening more. And it kind of freaked me out at first because I thought I was going crazy. And I grew up Catholic and I didn't know anything about any of that. And so it took several years, but I finally started to find like spiritual mentors and figure out that, okay, this is a spiritual awakening. It's actually normal and it's nothing to be afraid of. And I learned things like meditation and how to calm myself and just connect with my own inner knowing and just really started to trust myself more. And from there, I started to take leaps that were kind of scary, like leaving a marriage that I was in that just didn't feel right for me, and leaving jobs that didn't feel right. And so from there, I just started getting better at trusting myself. And then from there, it just was like it started to take off where I started to be able to help people doing the same thing, to do the same thing.
We were talking right before we went on, and I was saying that like I always listen to my gut, but I'm listening to what you're saying. I mean, I had a few near-death experiences, and I, I think I grew up more because of them. So I guess that was my spiritual awakening. I had to get rid of a lot of things in my life that kept bringing me to these points of view. So we were also talking that some people think it's woo-woo, but I, for one, believe that what you're saying is based on everyone's reality. I think that there's a part of, the healthcare worker in me knows, and the person in me knows that we don't use even a quarter of our brain, and
Yeah.
that when we really tap into that true potential and really listen, that we know what we're here to meant to be. I mean, what we are meant to do while we're
Yeah.
here. So I think that we all have a life plan. And
Mhm.
I think that we kind of know it when we're here, and that we spend our whole lives trying to figure it out. But a lot of people never do tap into themselves. A lot of people do live in that fear, and they don't find that happiness that they're supposed to.
Yeah.
So, I'm still tapping into a lot of it. I don't want to say I don't trust myself. I think that I'm becoming more aware, but I grew up similar to you, and I didn't feel confident in myself or trust in myself. And everybody said, "Oh, you should, you have this
Yeah.
going and that going." But it doesn't matter if you look in the mirror and that's not what you see. And
Yeah.
my reflection just wasn't that way for me, you
Right.
know? So I'm starting to really like look into that now and be like, today is a me day. I told you, spending time
Yeah.
putting on makeup. God knows why. I don't know how to do it. But just really spending time on myself and really getting to know myself again in life, because um I don't think we spend enough time by ourselves. I mean,
Exactly.
I spend a lot of time by myself, but not quality
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Sitting there in the meditation, what do I enjoy? What do I love? And doing those things. It's more like tasks and things that I
Yeah.
have to do for day-to-day
Distractions
life
and yeah.
than really
Yeah.
quiet reflection,
Yeah.
and I might be taking your program. Right. I really think there's a lot to it. So, um, what type of people typically come to you when you first meet them? What is something they come to you, like a problem that they say they think they want your help?
Yeah, so I really notice that it's people that just they know that they have this deeper calling and they don't really know what it is, or they feel that they really want to work on their self-love more or their self-esteem or just trusting themselves. And a lot of times it's also people that feel like they're just stuck, like they're in limbo, and that usually means that they just have a hard time making decisions. And decisions, like if you can practice making decisions and get more confident at making decisions, then you're building that self-trust and you're trusting your intuition. So even if people get like this gut feeling like, "Ooh, I should do this," sometimes they don't because they don't trust themselves or they're afraid of making a mistake and so forth. And then they stay stuck in limbo. And then the more you're in limbo, the worse and worse that feels. And so I always tell people, just make the decision no matter what, and you will learn no matter what, right? Even if you make the quote unquote wrong decision, you're still going to learn from that. And sometimes that's our greatest lessons, but you can move into a different path eventually. But if you stay stuck and you never make decisions, then it's just like you get into this hole deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's kind of harder to get out. So a lot of times that's the kind of people that I get is like the ones that are like, okay, I'm tired of being in this limbo state. I want help to like get out of this and really start to really trust myself more.
So I mean, I know too, being in the online space is very difficult with people stepping out and trusting themselves. I shared with you that I had a lot of trouble with that, and I'm just not that camera person. And I said, well, people, how are they going to see me if I'm never there,
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I had to trust myself, but I'm very confident in my abilities and what I'm teaching, but I'm not confident with that. As soon as that camera goes on, it's like my mouth gets twisted and all this other stuff. And I said, you know what? Better show up than not at all. So
Yeah.
I do get it. I absolutely get it. So what would you say to someone who's like letting that fear
Yeah.
really rule what they're doing? Because I think a lot of people not listening to that voice is fear based.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I have a couple of programs, but my main signature program, I have like a whole module on the difference between fear and intuition. And sometimes they're really closely together, like they're really related. And I always kind of tell people it's like really developing in the beginning when you're really starting to develop it more. It's developing that awareness with your body and understanding the signals that your body sends you. So it's like knowing, and that's very much about self awareness, right? It's like knowing, okay, when I think about making this kind of decision, or if I feel into this, what does my body send me? Like, what does it feel like in my body? So for me, I've noticed now, like by now, I'm really good at it. And I know that my body like expands and I feel like this feeling almost traveling up my stomach. That feels like excitement or curiosity. And that's like a yes for me. And if it's a no, it's my body contracts almost. And I feel like this almost pit in the gut, in my gut, this deep like sinking feeling. It's like that's like a no for me. So I started to really make almost a relationship with my body and like that awareness. And so the more that you practice that and develop that, the more you're just like, you're getting to know yourself at a really deep level, and that's what it is. And with that too, like I not only help people that just want to trust themselves, I help people that like are coming off of a spiritual awakening and they're not sure what's going on with themselves, and they're wanting to like develop their true self-esteem even more, their self-love. But also even like business owners, it's like you want to get better at what you do. Well, that all starts with like your own intuition and your self-love, and the more that you can develop that confidence, that kind of exudes from you. You become magnetized, and people feel that from you. We all feel each other, right? Our heart center like has this energy that's like even stronger than the brain, and we can feel that connection with people. And so when someone's super confident, if you think of like the most successful people in the world, they all have that in common, that they're confident, and that shows, right? So that's what you want to build, and that's like the foundation of success to me. That's my kind of definition, is like that self-esteem and that confidence. And so that's kind of what I assist people with, and I'm still working on it with myself too, but I've come a really long way if you ever knew me in the past. So yeah, that's kind of how I assist people with those fear-based decisions.
I think I've come a long way, but I think I still fear is a motivator for me. So it's not a bad thing at this point.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
it motivates me to
yeah,
want to do more and want to do better for myself.
yeah.
Um, but I've been in like law of attack. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. My mouth is a little tired. I get up at 2:30, so
Oh my
um
gosh.
I'm in a lot of like law of attraction classes
Yeah,
and stuff like that because they do help you tap into your true self, I believe.
yeah,
So one of the women tells you like they're all visualizing things. I was in a coaching class and he said, see the person you're becoming. And I told my girlfriend, I just don't see what he's talking about. Does that mean I don't get it because I can't see it? so
yeah,
so I just can't. And she said, well, maybe you are already that person. I said, well, I don't know if that's it. But so I have a real hard time with visualization. Like if I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about something, like I could bring a piece of chocolate cake to my head in no
yeah,
in no time.
yeah.
Really. There are
Mhm.
certain things that I like, that I identify with things that I have like every day, or things that are just such clear pictures to me. But when I'm trying to like project that or put that in my head, it's so much harder for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually very normal. And that is kind of an exercise that I do with my clients in my program in the very beginning to kind of see where we're at. And that's almost always the reaction I get is I can't see anything. And it's really just resistance. It's just we have to like declutter. We have to start from the basics. So in my program, I really start with the foundations of building your intuition, which is decluttering things, decluttering your mind, your body, your energy. And when you can declutter all of that, it's like getting rid of all that resistance and really learning to tune in and meditate. And you don't have to visualize when you meditate, right? You're getting rid of the resistance is all it is. You're quieting the mind. And when we can do that, we start to get clearer with ourselves, and then we build more clarity. So it's kind of a step-by-step process, and it's not right away, but eventually you will be. And it's been fun to see people have that light bulb turned on later on in the program, where they're like, my gosh, now I can feel it. And that's the thing. It's like you have to feel it more than the visualization. It's like if you can't embody it or feel that energy of your future self, or whatever it is you're trying to like imagine, then it's not as strong. And so that's why, another example of like why I don't really like where a lot of people teach about just say these affirmations and you'll manifest something. You have to feel it, right? You
Yes,
can
you
look
have
in
to
the
be on those
mirror. Yeah.
vibrations.
You can look in the mirror as much as you want and say, I am a millionaire. I am a millionaire. I am a millionaire, but if you don't embody that and feel that and it's in your energy, then it's not going to happen. You're basically just saying something and you're kind of lying to yourself. If you don't believe that, that's the thing. You have to believe what you're saying and feel it and just embody it. And that takes time sometimes. It's almost like brainwashing yourself to believe in something. So,
I thoroughly believe in that, but you do have to believe it. I tell clients that weight loss is more in the mind than in the body, and they don't get that. But honestly, I was really thin, then I was really big, and I got to a point where I just couldn't lose that weight. And the biggest thing that was standing in my way was me. I didn't believe I could do it.
yeah,
When I tried to touch my toes, I was like, oh my God, how did I get here?
yeah,
I didn't, I woke up one day and I was a completely different person, and I didn't know how to get back. But the real change came when I said, this, you can do
yeah,
this.
yeah,
And that then it was like easy. It was like as soon as I brought my mind, the body was ready and willing
yeah,
to follow. So I really do understand that.
yeah,
Um, I still have a hard time quieting the mind. My mind
yeah.
is always racing. Um, I don't know. That'll come in time, I hope, because
Yeah.
sometimes I'd really like to shut myself off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That is hard. I totally get that. And that's kind of one reason why I became a breathwork facilitator recently, actually, is because it's breathwork. The one that I do is a little bit intense. It's kind of not a little bit, it's intense, but it's actually, I would suggest trying breathwork over meditation first if you really, really struggle with meditation and have a lot of resistance towards it, because breathwork, you don't really have time to think because it is pretty intense, but it's also releasing resistance at the same time. So if you can get good at doing breath work, then you can bring in meditation to your practice and it will get easier. And it kind of is just this way of up leveling your energy and your life a lot faster. And another thing that helps too, I think, is just going on a walk in nature. That really helps to kind of do a lot of things. It's meditative. It declutters your energy and your body at the same time because you're moving energy, but you're also around nature. And it just is like this really healing energy to be around nature. And it's an easier way to like start to kind of get into a meditative state faster besides just sitting there. So those are kind of things that I would practice doing slowly first. But then another thing I was going to say that you reminded me of was with when we were talking about like the mindset of like feeling and embodying what we want. That's a really good reason why to have a mentor too. Like if you have an example of somebody that's already done it and they embody it, then it actually kind of makes your mind think, oh, then I can do this. This is achievable, right? Because I'm seeing this person right here. I know them. I have a relationship with them. I can embody what they are doing too. It's just more believable. Same thing with like, this is a bigger example, but like when like track stars or whatever or gymnasts break these major records, they do things that the world has never seen. You notice after one person does it, it starts to become a thing that other people do it too. They start to break these records too, or they start to do it the same thing. It's because it makes it more believable when we see it, and someone else can embody it and be the example for us. So that's just why mentorship, I think, is just really valuable.
So do I. I worked with Evan Begon, and he used to say, if you can see it, you could be it. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why he used to make us do this 10-minute exercise, and I do it with a lot of my clients. I make them relax and let go of the day so that they are where we are,
Yeah.
and see the person you're becoming, because they were trying to lose that weight. What does that person look like? What does it feel
Yeah.
like to be in that body? So he gave us all these great exercises, but I really love that one. I do that with me still.
Yeah.
I do that exercise on
Yeah.
myself. And it really helps me tap back into things. So yeah, it's really
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about the book. So how were you approached to do this book?
So it was by Heather, which She Rises Studios, and it was kind of interesting. It's like it aligned so much with my business and the way I do things. It was like, because first of all, intuition is not logical. It's on the whole other side of the brain. It's on the right side of the brain. So it's like intuition doesn't always make sense when things kind of pop into your reality. It's like just follow it, even if it doesn't make sense. If you have that feeling, just do it and just go for it, which can be scary, so that kind of happened to me. And I remember I use, like, just for fun, I use oracle cards, which look like this, so like angel cards, and I pull one and I just say, what do I need to know today? And it's just kind of for fun. And I pulled a card that morning and it said just say yes, and I didn't know what it was about. And then later that day, Heather reached out, or I talked with her, and she told me about the book, and it just was like I just knew right away. It was like, that's what that was about. It was this. And I just felt this energy of like, oh, this feels so exciting and good. But yes, there was fear attached to it too, because it's like, okay, this is kind of a big step. Am I ready for this? And all of those logical thoughts that pop in, and you're like, oh, I don't know, that's scary. But the bigger feeling was, this is going to help a lot of people, and I'm supposed to be a part of this. So I just said yes, even though there was some fear, and I'm so glad I did, because it's just been an amazing experience.
I think this has been a fabulous experience. I too, exactly verbatim what you just said.
Oh my gosh.
It's so weird. I connected with Heather, and I was at a place in my business and stuff, and I said, am I doing the right thing? And like kind of second guessing myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I guess like every new level of your business, like, oh my God, can I take on more?
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
say to yourself, is, oh my God, more.
Yeah.
And I was there, and then I just had this feeling when Heather said it, and in the back of my mind, I was saying, I don't know how you're going to do this, but you're going to do this, and I just
Yeah.
knew that I had to be a
Yeah.
part of it, and I
Yeah.
loved the message. Um, I was kind of a little leery about like sharing that everything, and
Sure. Yeah.
then I said, but how could you expect other people to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
or tell if you're not willing to do that yourself?
Yeah.
And being online in this space has showed me just how many people go through something, get out on the other side, and
Right.
it can really help people. Like, one of the women in our programs in the book, Julianne, she lived through suicide and stuff,
Yeah.
and she turned that around and now helps other people, monitor is not really a good word, really help manage that grief,
Yeah.
and finds some kind of inner peace in the process, and that's beautiful. So I think that we're in the middle of things in our lives, we just see that gunk
Yeah.
that's there, that's like eating away at us. We don't see a way out until we
Right.
actually get out.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I think this is just really going to help so many women understand that they can too. Hang
Yeah.
on one
Yeah.
second. All right. So if you could tell other women anything anywhere about, like, what would that be?
Yeah. Yeah. So to develop your intuition, it's just, I have several steps, and to just kind of, when you're first starting, I would say the best thing to right away is start to just like get some alone time. And a lot of times it's like we think, oh, we're so busy. How can I even do that? Especially if you're a mom, right? But you can carve out time, even if it's just 15 minutes a day in the morning or something. Start to develop this just alone time with yourself, to develop this own relationship with you and just sit with yourself, right? Start to try to meditate meditate, start to just slow down in life and get yourself calm. Like that's the number one thing is do whatever you can to get your body calm and get out of the survival response so that we can get into a relaxed nervous system, into the parasympathetic nervous system response. And that will help your body to just like be calm so you can listen to yourself easier. And then one way to do that too is to declutter, like we've talked about earlier, is start to just like clean out a room of your house, right? And just if you've ever noticed if you declutter a physical area around you, you just start to feel better, right? Even though
Yes.
cleaning isn't always fun, you feel better, and when you feel better, your energy is starting to flow easier. And so that's literally like unblocking some of your blocks inside your body. So it's kind of amazing how that's all connected. And then it's like start to like bring more play into your life. Start to that's activating more of the right side of the brain where intuition is. So the more that you can be playful and creative, that builds that creativity in your energy, and then you start to activate that easier. And then like also with that is like follow your curiosity, things that feel like interesting to you or you're curious about. That's really a little nudge. So intuition isn't like this big like bang like this is a yes, it's usually this subtle nudge, these little nudges. It's like these little tiny steps that you take, and they're like, oh, this is interesting. And then you just follow that. And then something else will be interesting with it. Oh, I'm going to follow this too. Like, listening to a certain podcast. I just feel like I should listen to this, or this is interesting to me. Listen to that. You might find a mentor on that podcast, and then follow that intuition. So it's just kind of taking those little steps and kind of just building that muscle. And the more that you build that and do those things and practice making decisions and following through with the decisions, that will help to kind of strengthen your intuition and your trust with the intuition.
Okay, I'm gonna take your advice. I'm absolutely gonna try to. I could
Yeah.
definitely listen. I spend so much time at work, like helping other people and stuff. And that's what I do every day. And I really don't think I spend enough of that
Yeah.
quiet time really like honing into what I'm feeling. Every morning, I have a long commute. That's when I meditate. I put the headphones
Yeah.
on, I listen to it, and it's like this whole mantra thing that I go through. It's calming
Yeah.
breaths and things like that.
Yeah.
People around me must think I am a nut.
That's
I
okay.
I don't care because I know
Yeah.
that it sets me off for the
Yeah.
rest of my day. It puts
Yeah.
me in a quieter, calmer
Yeah.
mode. I feel happier. I notice that when I get off that train or where I'm going, then I'm more likely to say hello to everybody. Hey, good
Right.
morning. How are you?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
feel better. So
Right.
I project that to other people. So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, especially in the morning, like you said, that's usually the best time. It's like you're setting yourself up for the day, and then you got that momentum that carries you through the day to keep your energy up.
Oh, great. So where can people reach you?
Yeah, so several places. On Instagram, I'm at Coach Megan Nicole, and there's no H's in my name. My website is just coachmegannicole.com. Facebook, I'm Megan Nicole Coaching. I also have a free private Facebook group called Intuition Connection, and that's kind of fun to be in. And I do sometimes free intuitive readings in that group as well. So that's really fun, and I use my angel cards and everything. And then I think that's all. I'm like, I have a lot of places to reach me, but those are the main ones. Yeah.
I think I joined that group the other day. I was clicking
Oh
on all your
yeah.
links. I said, "Oh, let me." But that's what I've been doing too, because as part of this journey, it's really about women inspiring other women to be the best they can and
Yeah.
just get out there and step into themselves. So I'm trying to do practice what I preach, and I've been joining everybody's groups and things like that because I think we need to really support each other more on
Yeah.
this journey,
Yeah.
and really connect.
Absolutely.
So I'm
Absolutely.
so grateful that you were able to come in today. I did take a pause, guys. That's why it looks like there was a little break in what we were talking about. Someone rang my bell. I had to answer. Sorry. Um, but I'm gonna drop all your links in,
Right.
okay? And we will definitely do this soon. We'll find out what's coming up next,
Yeah.
We'll get
Yeah,
back in touch in a little while and find out what's going next. And I will see you in your group. Okay.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Thank you so much for coming. Have a great day, honey.
You too.
Bye.